A great big spicy hello to each and every one of my favorite listeners and my new listeners. This is Diana Price, and you're listening to Diana's Spicy Business Talk Radio. We're here every Tuesday, 12:30 to 1:30 Pacific Time on www.rmconlive.com. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing all of the great stuff we're talking about with your friends. We really appreciate you listening. If you need to reach us, I think you know how to reach us. You can check out our blog at dpriceassociates.com. You can also check out our website at dianapriceassociates.com. And our digits, area code 949-427-0066. And as you know, Diana Price & Associates, we are a consulting firm, and we teach companies and professionals how to use customer service as a profit strategy and make serving customers central to their corporate culture. And today, we have a corporate giant with us. We're so happy to have my special guest and longtime friend, from I'm not sure how many years. I'm not sure I want to say it. But it's such a pleasure to have Mr. Ken Bentley. He's a vice president of Nestle. And you know what? I'm going to tell you all about him. So just sit back and relax. Bring your brain, because you're going to get some nuggets that you can take away today and you can use every single day in your business or in your life. Let me tell you about Ken Bentley. Ken Bentley is the vice president of Nestle USA. In his position, he's responsible for community affairs, educational programs, and the Nestle USA Foundation and workforce diversity. He's going to talk to us about some of all of that today. Bentley is a native Los Angeles. If anybody's from Los Angeles, he went to Crenshaw High. How cool is that? He was the first student body president. He was an all-city athlete and a member of the school's Hall of Fame. He received his bachelor's degree from the University of California at Irvine. Oh, he went down the road for us on there. And then he got his master's of Art in Management from the University of Redlands. You know, my brother went to that school.
Oh, did he?
Oh,
Okay.
Interesting.
Must be a good guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Oh, okay.
Just like you. 1988, the trustees of Lane College in Jackson, Tennessee, he was awarded an honorary doctorate in humanities. That's cool. I didn't know that. Also completed the University of Michigan Executive Management Program. There's more to Mr. Bentley, so just hang tight. Bentley began his business career as a sales representative for Xerox Corporation in 1973. You'll see why that's important in a minute, because we're going to be talking about intrapreneurship today. And since that time, he's been a tennis specialist. Now that's my racket. He was a tennis specialist for Spalding Sporting Goods, an area manager for Anheuser-Busch, and a senior public relations account executive for Philips Organization before joining Carnation, which is a division of Nestle. As an assistant manager of community relations in 1982, he was marketing manager in 1990, director of community affairs in 1991, vice president of community affairs in 1994. This is my favorite part about Mr. Bentley. He's an accomplished writer. Nestle's Very Best in Youth, 2013, is Bentley's 15th book. He's written 15 books. How cool is that? We're going to see some of those books today. I can't wait to show them to you. And oh my God, I don't know if I should say all of them right now. There's Nestle's Very Best in Youth, 1, 2, and 3. There's Women of Courage, 1 and 2. There's Men of Courage. There's Beyond a Dream. There's Black Women in Arts and Going for the Goal, the story of Black women in sports. I could go on and on and on. One of these books, I think it was Men of Courage. Was that Men of Courage that when LA Times did an hour-long television documentary? So, oh my God. And then, oh my God, look at this. He was a radio, I didn't know you were a radio commentator.
Yeah, I did that for a while.
KJLH. I got to tell you, I could spend the next hour talking to you about all of the amazing things this highly respected achiever has gone through. He's got so many awards. He's got Turning Point Live. He's got the governor of California appointed him. Both of the governors, Gray Davis and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I could go on and on and on, but I want to introduce you to Mr. Kenneth Bentley, my friend, and thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. It's an honor to talk about business.
Yeah.
Something I've been involved in. I know you've been involved in for a while, so it's an honor. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure to have you. So, all the things that I missed in your bio. What about these awards? How did that documentary come about to start with? Was it this book, Men of Courage? This Men of Courage book?
Well, for me, Men of Courage was really something that I think changed my career because growing up in South Central Los Angeles, it really bothered me that people said there was a lack of positive role models. And for me, it was different. My dad was always my role model, but more than that, there were so many men in the community, Mr. Gilbert at Harvard Park, and I could go on and on. And so I wanted to write a story about the positive African-American men in our community so kids could use these as positive role models. And so we did the book. It's a collection of biographies of some really great men. And then we did a documentary based on the book that was shown on NBC and was really successful.
That's pretty cool.
How did that
book get to a documentary? I mean, it had to have been, your influence, your achieving, and all the amazing people that are role models in the book.
Well, I think it really is a tribute to the men in the book, and not just the men in this book, but all of the African American men that are out
Busby
there. Yeah, Gerald Busby.
there?
Yeah,
Wow.
he was a real role model of mine, a great music executive. But
Yeah.
I tell you, there's one story in the book that I always like to tell kids. It's about a guy named Billy Bolton. Now, Billy was born in a town in Mississippi. He was the first person in the whole town that had ever graduated from high school.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the amazing thing was Billy was an athlete. And so he used to sit out in his front yard and dream about, look at the stars and dream about this life outside of Bolton, Mississippi. And because he was a football player, he had an opportunity to go to college. And then he had the opportunity to go to the Army. But what was interesting about Billy is that he was in an elevator in an office building. And two white guys actually got on the elevator. And they were talking about the cable telephone industry, about this whole new industry that was going to come about.
Really?
So he went down immediately after getting off the elevator. He went down to the FCC and applied for a license to have a cellular phone company. And 5 years later, he sold that company for $50 million.
Don't even tell me.
50. Now, here's a guy that grew up in a town.
I got to find him in here. Where is he?
He's in there somewhere.
What's his last name? Billy Bolton.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What a story.
This one. He might have been in my other one.
Billy Bolton.
Yeah, he was.
So he had a cable television?
A cable, it was actually cellular phone company.
Okay, that's right. a cell phone
Oh,
company.
Billy Parrott. I'm sorry, Billy Parrott.
Billy
Yeah.
Parrott.
Yeah, so Billy Parrott.
52. We got to show you Billy Parrott, you guys.
Billy Parrott, I mean,
Oh, my God.
his story is like an inspiration for everyone. Because Billy, now here's a guy that grew up in extreme poverty.
Billy Parrott.
Billy Parrott. No one had ever graduated from high school in his town. And he became the
No
first
one.
person to graduate from high school and ended up with a $50 million. And the other thing I love about Billy that I think is a lesson for all of us who have achieved any kind of success, that Billy also used that money to make other people millionaires.
I love that.
And he made tons of people millionaires. So
Talk
he
about
used
an
it,
entrepreneur.
yeah, who decided
The
to
spirit.
use his money to help other people. And he's been, those are the kind of stories that I wanted to tell. There's so many stories like Billy that.
How'd you find Billy?
You know, I had a friend, actually when I decided to do this book, I kind of wrote to all the people that I had come in contact with and said, tell me about people that you've met that are inspirational stories that we could use to inspire kids. And that's how we came up with this. And so, after I did this, I did a couple volumes of Men of Courage, and then we did Women of Courage.
Did Women of Courage.
And I also, so lately I've been doing a series on kids because as we get older, we start to put limitations on ourselves and what we can do. But kids believe they can do anything.
Anything.
And
They don't have a comfort zone, do they?
no, they don't. They just believe.
just-
And you talk about entrepreneurs and feeling like you can change the world. Young people are changing the world.
And they are.
And so I started doing a series of books on kids who are doing inspirational things. And these are, so far in the past,
look
started
at
in
this.
97. And in the past 10 years, we've probably profiled about 300 young people.
Wow, this is 2000.
But it could be
very
300,000 because there's so many kids that are doing amazing things. I didn't bring the book of this one, and you talk about telling stories. I love telling stories. But
Stories are so important.
there's a young lady that I met doing this from Jacksonville, Florida, Bria Brown. And when she was 6 years old, she found out she had cancer.
Oh, wow.
And
You
so,
met her?
Yeah, she was profiled in one of the books that I
Okay.
did. And so when she was placed in a hospital ward with 18 kids, and 17 of those kids died.
Oh,
She was the
no,
only
that is
one.
so sad.
It's sad. But she was the only one in that hospital ward that survived. But today she's in college, and she's one of the leading fundraisers for the American Cancer
Oh,
Society.
that is so cool.
And what was amazing is that she went to testify before Congress to increase funding for pediatric cancer. And she brought with her 17 teddy bears to represent the 17 kids.
That did not make it.
So
What a
So she started a national organization to provide teddy bears for kids with cancer. And so, I mean, here's a young lady who could have just wallowed in her own problems,
Yes.
but decided to use that to help
to
others.
help other people.
And these are very best in youth is all about little kids that are changing the world.
You know, it sounds like the people that you are profiling are very much like you, helping other people to do their best, to bring out their greatness. And that's just, I can't tell you, I mean, that's all in your thread. That's all in your makeup.
Well, I think, one of the things I wanted to tell, too, is that greatness comes in any age. And so these kids are not waiting until they grow up to change the world. They're really
doing
are
it now.
changing the world now. And I think there's a great lesson for us as
Yeah.
adults to learn.
Yeah.
That too often we put limitations on
Oh,
ourselves.
definitely.
And if you
I
think
talk about that so much on the show.
But if you think about business, if we had no limitations,
Oh.
what could we achieve?
Oh, say that again.
If we had no limitations, what could we
Oh.
achieve? And the limitations that we put are usually the limitations we put on ourselves.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
so, and these young kids
Yeah.
inspire me to lift the limitations that I have a tendency to put on my life.
Those limiting beliefs just put you in such a narrow journey.
Because I think too often we focus on what we can't do.
Oh,
Instead of
yes.
focusing on what we can
do. Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about why you like, I mean, I shouldn't even say like, these books, it seems like a labor of love for you.
It is.
How were you inspired? What motivated you to number one, write all these books? Was it as a result of what you're doing, your vice president position at Nestle, at Carnation Nestle?
Well, yes,
let's say?
we've always done educational materials for schools. That's one of our educational outreach. Long before I got there, they were doing books for schools. I feel like my calling basically is to tell positive stories because I really do think that we focus so much on the glass being half empty. And so what I wanted to do was to tell positive stories so people could see that it doesn't matter where you start in life, it's where you end up
It
that
really
counts.
is. It's the journey.
It's the journey.
It's the journey. That makes it so well worth it.
And
Yeah.
it took me a while to really figure out that it is about the journey. When I first started in business, for me, I thought I had to win every single battle. And you talk about turning points in your career and your life. I had a boss who actually told me one time that I would never advance in the company.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was. I had written Men of Courage actually, and the company got a lot of exposure
Because of you.
Right.
Because you wrote this
and
for
Nestle
Nestle, and Nestle published it.
Right.
Nestle published that.
And so when I went in for my performance review, he told me, he said, "Yeah, Men of Courage was great, and you've done a pretty good job, but you don't have what it takes to get to the next level." And he said, "You could stay at Nestle 30 years, and you will always be a manager of community affairs. You won't go on it. You won't rise in the company." And so,
What was his motivation for telling you that? I mean,
I think for whatever reason, I think he actually believed it. He just, for whatever, maybe it was something he didn't see in me. Maybe it was something. I don't really know.
How did you react to that?
Well, I was upset. At first I was really upset. And then I figured, when I walked out of that office, I figured I had two choices. One, I could really accept what he said and be the manager of community affairs for the next 30 years. Or I could develop a plan and determine my own future and my own career path.
That's what I'm talking about.
So what I did is I sat down and I came up with a plan, and I called it my 13 points to success.
No, I like that. 13 points to success.
Yeah.
All right.
So I put that down. But also in developing that, I went out and talked to my friends in the company, and I talked to mentors. And I would recommend everyone to do that, because it can be a painful process, because they told me, okay, you can move up, but here's some weaknesses that you have.
Okay.
Here's some things that you need to do.
So that was constructive. Did you think that was constructive?
Oh, very much.
Okay.
Very much. Because I had made up my mind then that I wanted to move up in the company. So I was open to listen. Now, maybe 5 years before that, I might not have been open. But at that point, I was open. So together, we laid out this plan. And
the same guy that said you couldn't make it.
No,
Oh,
not him.
okay.
My friends.
That was this. These are mentors.
Mentors.
So huge to have mentors. Everybody doesn't have mentors.
Well, I think everybody can, though. I think you got to go out and seek your mentors.
You got to get them.
You got to get them, and I think
they're not coming to you.
No, and it's your responsibility to get them, because it's your responsibility. Your career is your responsibility.
Did you guys hear that? You got to go get what you want. You can't just sit there and expect it to come to you.
You really can't. Now, I just went to a presentation by Ken Shropshire, who's a professor at Wharton School of Business.
Okay.
And Ken is an expert on negotiations. And he says that he has a rule in his life, and a rule that he tells kids, that you always ask for more.
Always
As a rule
ask
of thumb,
for more.
You always ask for more. And
What's his name again? I like him.
Ken Shropshire. He'd be a good person to. He's from L.A.
Okay, I'm going to write his name down.
Yeah.
We're going to get him on the show.
Yeah. You need to get Ken on. And he'll be here in December.
Oh, awesome.
Comes here every Christmas. But he gave a tremendous presentation. I actually got him to come in and talk to our employees at Nestle.
Wow.
And
How cool is that?
You have to ask for more. He actually put a sign on his desk. Always ask for more.
Did you guys hear that?
But he said that served him well, because he found out that he had a tendency not to keep away from confrontation. So he would always.
Here we go.
He would always accept whatever they gave him. Any contract, he would just accept it.
That's fine with me. No.
Yeah, he said that was fine. So then he realized what he did. He went to actually a class. He said he realized that he lost so many opportunities just because he didn't ask. And so now he always asks for more. And one thing I found in counseling employees at Nestle is invariably an employee will come to me and say, "Well, I haven't gotten promoted." And I'll say,
so they're asking for more.
But they're not. They want more, but they're not asking for more. And so the first question I ask is, have you ever asked for a promotion? Have you ever let your boss know that did you state your objectives? And all too often, people don't ask for what they want. Now, I have a daughter who's now 30, but when she was in school, we had a deal that at the start of every class, she would go to her teacher and tell her teacher that she expected to get an A in the class. And so it put the teacher on notice, and she would always say, "Okay, what do I need to do to get?"
to make that happen.
And that was one of the things
How
when
cool
I
is
in my
that?
plan when I went to my after my boss. Actually, the interesting story is that the guy that told me I would never rise, he got fired, and I got his office. So, yeah. So,
I like that.
but when I got after after he got fired, I got a new boss.
Oh.
And so I went into her and said, okay, here's what I want. Here's the kind of career I want. What do I need to do to get that career? And so I'll never forget this conversation we had. And she had 5 things that I needed to do. And she said, if you do these 5 things, then I think you can achieve the things you want. So for the next 3 years, I took this piece of paper in with me every time we had a conversation. And I'd ask her if I've achieved that. So I said, have I achieved number 1? And she said, yes. So we crossed it out. At the end of 3 years, I still had 3 years. I had this paper, and I showed her, and everything was crossed out on it.
Ooh.
And so she told me, said, okay, now you've done everything I've asked you to do. Okay, let me go to the CEO and get you promoted.
Just like that.
Just like that. But it was a plan. I told her, number one, I told her what I wanted. We did the plan together. And then I did all the things that she asked me to do. And I kept that paper with me, which was
Who was the CEO at the time?
Joe Weller.
Joe Weller. I remember him.
Yeah,
remember
Joe
him.
Weller was a great CEO. And Cam Sterrett was my boss at the time.
I remember him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was a mentor that you were conversing with.
Yeah.
How did you identify and find that mentor? And before you answer that question, we're going to be right back. We're going to take a 30-second break. This is Diana, and you are listening to Diana's Spicy Business Talk, and we are talking to Vice President of Nestle USA, Kenneth Bentley. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Diana Price, and you're listening to Diana's Spicy Business Talk Radio. And we always tell you to bring your brain here because when you leave the show, you're going to have some nuggets that you can use every day in your life and in your business. We're talking to Ken Bentley, Vice President of Nestle USA, Carnation Nestle. Oh, and just a great guy. You should hear all the things if you haven't, all the books that he's written, and everything just comes so from his heart. He's just so giving, and it's just a pleasure to meet and to have him tell us how he shares so much. But before we get back to Ken, I think he's right here. He's right here next to me. We have a caller on the line that probably wants to talk about something. So let's see, caller, who we have on the line. This is Diana Price.
Hi, Diana. This is Valezra Earl. How are you?
Hi, Valezra Earl. How are you?
I'm doing well. I am so delighted to hear you, and even more delighted that you've got Ken Bentley there.
Yes. I'm going to have Ken put his headset on so he can hear you.
So he can hear me. Okay. Yeah. He doesn't even realize the impact that he's had on different individuals, different people in the community. I actually have one of his books on my coffee table.
Are you kidding, Valezra?
And where he was writing about young African American men, and he actually used my son as one of the people that he's talked about in his book. So
that is amazing. Tell me about that. Tell us about that.
Well, I think he was just talking about, he could probably tell you better what the book was about, but just talking about statistics and how our young men are often overlooked and not living up to their full potential. Pretty basically things that you do hear, and probably things that are not reported in the mainstream media. So
I'm looking through his books.
Always been such a positive person, and I think the time that my son spent with him he considered it very positive too.
Well, I think that's when we did the focus group on young black males, and we published the book.
Ken, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bentley. I think you're correct. That is it.
Well, actually, the one regret I have about that whole session is that we didn't tape it because the young men were so engaging and they really spoke from their heart.
Yeah.
Because I do think that what bothers me about society today is that they just focus so much on the negative when the great majority of young black men are like your son.
Yep, trying to do things.
They're trying to do what's right.
Right.
We always talk about the number of kids who don't graduate from from high school
you hear
and
that
college.
So much.
But the great majority of kids graduate from high school. The great majority of kids are doing the right thing, and those are the kids that we need to hold up and celebrate.
Uplift.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, he came back really energized. I mean, this was a few years ago, but I do remember him being really, he enjoyed it. He thought you were cool, which is,
we think he's cool
too. You can
too.
get the thumbs up or the cool from young
the kids.
people. That's a major accomplishment. So I just never forgot that. I thought. I always remembered you being such a mentor and such a positive role model, and always trying to give back. And I hear you're a golfer, but I just haven't had opportunity to to see you out there on the golf course.
No, I'm a golfer.
I thought he was a tennis player.
I used to be a tennis player.
He does it all. He does it all, clearly.
I'm a golfer now. I'm a golfer. I love the game.
Valezra, tell us what your son's name. What is your son's name?
My son is Dion Earl. He went to Laces Laces High School, and he then went on to when it was down for his decision was between UCLA and Howard University. And I was so afraid he was going to choose UCLA and stay local. I was holding my breath the whole time, and he chose Howard. His sister went to Howard.
How cool is
and
that?
He chose Howard, and he went back east, and he became a gentleman of Drew. And he grew up. He became a young man. So
what's he doing now?
Oh, Ken, he is working at a law firm but pursuing his acting. He wants to be an actor.
Okay.
So So, I'm just praying for maybe his own legal show where he can be an attorney on somebody's television show. Or
At least
something.
acting that
At
way,
least,
right?
yeah.
Well,
Because I just knew law school was going to be the route.
but I think the thing is you want him to try different things.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think it's positive that he has these dreams, and we need more positive actors. People
Absolutely,
that portray
absolutely.
this
I'm
right.
I'm not mad about it at all.
No.
Because at the end of the day, I think I say this to anybody who'll listen. At the end of the day, all you want for your children is for them to be happy.
Yes.
Oh, that's
You want
true.
them to be productive, and you want them to be happy, and whatever that looks like for them. It might not be the same path I chose, but it's your path, it's your life, it's your happiness, it's your dream. So.
And at this point, it may not be what he always wants to do.
Oh, absolutely, true.
Because my daughter went to UCLA and wanted to be a journalist,
Mm-hmm.
and now she's a florist.
Oh my God.
She started her own floral business.
Yeah,
Has her
but
own business.
Yeah, loves
Wow.
it.
But that's the main thing. You got to love what you do, right?
Right. She found her passion.
Right.
She found her calling, and I can't be happier for her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when she told me that she wanted to be a florist, I wasn't jumping up and down.
No. You're like, what?
What?
Right.
I sent you to UCLA for that?
Right. But it's been the best thing she ever could have done. No, I mean, it's-
Absolutely.
So-
Absolutely.
Lazara,
Yes.
thank you so much
Yeah, thanks for calling.
for
you.
taking the time
Say
to
hello to your son
call.
for me.
I will. I definitely will. I can't wait to tell him that I spoke with you. And Diana, you are doing fabulous things. I appreciate the opportunity to even speak with you online. This is great. Thank you so much for what you do.
Oh, it's a pleasure. We
All right.
want to get the business word out there. That's really needed in our community.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much for calling
Thank
Diana's
you.
Spicy Business Talk, and we will hopefully chat soon.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Take
Have a
care.
great day, you
Thank you
guys.
so much,
All right.
Lazara.
Bye-bye.
Bye now. How cool that someone
Yeah, that was a great
related to your books, your stories,
Yeah, that was
really
great.
brought it to life. So before the caller, before Lazara called, we were talking about how to get a mentor and what's involved in that. Are there different types of mentors that people should really be looking at? Just a friend, hey, show me what to do.
Well, it can be. For me, I see three types of mentors. One, and all of them are important, and peer mentors are really important. A lot of
Peer mentors.
A lot of people overlook the peer mentors, your friends, your people on your same level in a company, but they're really important because they'll give you an honest perspective on yourself. They'll tell you things that people that don't know you as
Will sugarcoat, huh?
will sugarcoat. So you need peer mentors. And I call all of this my amen corner. 'Cause
Your
you
amen corner.
Yeah. You need your amen corner.
Yay!
You need some people say board of directors. I call it my
Your
amen,
amen corner. Can I get an amen?
And then you need somebody at a higher level.
Yeah.
Some
absolutely.
people older, could be older, but somebody senior at a senior. If you're in a company, somebody at a senior level. Somebody who's done what you're trying to do. And the way I get mentors that are on that level, I try to find someone that has something in common with me. I can find some kind of common ground. Like, do they play golf? Are they interested in sports? It could be something as simple as, do they have kids? What are their interests? Do they like to read books?
Got it.
My boss, Cam Starrett, was huge into books, hates sports, not into sports at all.
Really?
But she read
There you go.
tons of books. And so we related on, and she always wanted to be an author. So we related on that level. Joe Weller, who was our CEO, the way I got to know him, he's a Christian.
Oh.
And so
How did you get to know the CEO on
I went up and introduced
a
myself.
one-on-one? Oh, okay.
Oh, and so I was speaking at a church.
You went up and introduced yourself?
Yeah, I went up and introduced myself.
Wait. It's difficult for, in most corporate structures, you just go up to the 4th floor, the 10th floor, the 12th floor, and introduce yourself. Tell us more about that.
Well, I was fortunate to work in the old Carnation Company. You could go up and meet anyone.
Got
But take the opportunity. Like Joe Weller ate in the cafeteria, the
Oh,
same
okay.
cafeteria. So I would go up and introduce myself, start a conversation with him. But once I found out we had the Christian connection, I was speaking at a church in Pasadena, so I invited Joe and his wife to come and hear me speak.
Nice.
And from then on, we had that connection. We had a really close connection.
That's
but
important.
find that. And then again, my boss, Cam Sterrett, our connection came around books and writing and that kind of thing. So find that connection. And you'll be surprised because a lot of people I tell that to, they say, well, we're so different. No, you find that common ground. You can find common ground with anyone.
Got it.
And so,
Got it. That is
so do some research.
huge.
Do some
Yeah.
homework on the people that are in positions that you want to be in, and find that common ground.
with them.
And again, I say it's your responsibility. So since it's your responsibility, take the time and do the research.
So the 3 types of mentors: peer,
Right? There's peer. There's somebody at a higher level, and then
someone at a higher level.
and the third type would be somebody outside of your sphere of working or whatever. So,
Someone outside of your
Right.
your sphere.
right. So it would be somebody. So if you're in
Objective
community,
opinion.
if you're in community affairs, get somebody in marketing. Get somebody in sales. Get somebody that's
see.
not in your day-to-day thing.
Not in your department, not in your area where you can.
Right. But
Yeah.
you
Get
learn
it
more
different.
about what they're doing, and it actually increases your area of influence.
Well, Ken, you're so popular today. We have another caller that would like that would like to talk to us.
All right.
So, hi, welcome to Diana's Spicy Business Talk. This is Diana, and we're on with Ken Bentley, Vice President of Nestle USA. Who are we speaking with?
Hi, this is Allison Banks Herbert. How are you, Diana?
Hi, Allison Banks Herbert. It's a pleasure to have you call in. And Ken,
Hey, Allison, how you doing? I haven't
I'm
talked to you
good,
in a
Ken.
long
How are
time.
you?
Good.
I have a question. I have the opportunity to help a chain of newspapers increase their advertising revenue, and I'm just starting. And my question is, in today's shrinking marketing environment with smaller budgets, how does a specialized media outlet get increased dollars when we've been seeing that advertisers are more interested in cost per thousand?
Well, I think that's an interesting question, and I know the print media and to some degree the radio media is starting to feel that. But I think that companies are looking to segment more because advertising on traditional television is so costly, and also we know better who our customers are. So we wanna really hone in on who those customers
yes.
are, and so that's actually going to benefit the newspapers that you're working with, because if you can better target, you can really provide a clear target for a company. So what I would suggest is that you really find a company and really identify the products that your readers use and develop a cause-related marketing program and develop something that's more than just an advertising program. Because companies are looking for different kinds of ways to meet consumers. And we know, we've done tons of research, we know that people are more likely to buy from companies that are involved in their community or companies that are involved in the charity that they're involved in. So how do you go to this company and say, here are my 25,000 consumers who use your product, and they're loyal consumers and they're high volume consumers. So how can we engage those consumers? And if you have vehicles that you can really engage those consumers, then companies will more likely want to partner with you. But all too often, what I see is, smaller newspapers coming to us and saying, okay, can you take out a half-page ad? Can you take out a full-page ad? Then it's all about cost per thousand, and it's really about strictly advertising numbers. But if you come to us and say, I've got this promotion that will really engage these target consumers, then they're more likely to do it. Because then if you've got 25,000 people involved in a health and wellness program, then that 25,000 could, influence another 75,000. Then you got 100,000 people, and it's a whole, integrated program as opposed to just a one-time ad. Because you're going to lose on a one-time ad.
Absolutely. So an integrated marketing and consumer affairs program.
Right.
With perhaps a digital component.
Yeah. And any social media, if you could wrap all of those things into one promotion, then I think you have a much better chance. Because every company now is looking to better target their consumer.
Yes.
We spent so much
Yes.
money on trying to determine, who's actually using our products. And so we found that we were wasting so much money on just mass advertising. I'm on the board of Farmers Insurance Company, and they are actually really trying to narrow down the consumer of their insurance policies. Who buys a farmer's insurance policy? And they've spent a lot of money just trying to determine who's the best, who is their customer, and how do they talk to that customer. And so that's where I think you can have an advantage in the future. See, I really do think the fact that you have, and we know too that local newspapers can have a tremendous impact on people. So now start to use that impact you guys have.
Well, that sounds terrific. Thank you.
Oh, you are.
Thank you for your information and your perspective. That's very helpful.
Okay.
And thank you, Diana, for taking my call.
Allison,
I appreciate it.
Thank you for connecting with us. We really appreciate that. Allison is an amazing entrepreneur in her own right, so we always want to encourage the entrepreneurial spirit like this guy is doing.
Are you? Have you gotten over the loss over the weekend?
Uh-oh.
Okay,
Stanford.
I'm going to end this call now.
You're going to end the call now.
Call.
USC beats Stanford. I think that's what she's upset about.
Well, he knows. He knows. Okay, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay,
Bye
Thank
now.
take care.
you, Allison, for your call.
Bye now.
Bye. Allison graduated from Stanford. And
Die
of
hard
course,
Stanford.
Die hard Stanford. And of course, I graduated from USC, and you're USC. So it's I'm going to end this call now.
I know.
She says, bye. That was
a
really
die-hard
funny.
Stanford
Yeah,
person.
Die hard Stanford. Absolutely. So, we've been talking about entrepreneurship and growth and, the mentality and the mentors. How does entrepreneurship versus entrepreneurship fit into a company like yours, for example? Do you find that you have a lot of entrepreneurs in silos? Do you find that you may stagnate people that want to be entrepreneurs in corporate America? What's your take on that?
Well, that's an interesting take. I think when I started years ago, they wanted you to just basically carry on what was there. If you had an entrepreneurial spirit, you were encouraged to go do it somewhere else.
Okay.
But now we're looking for people that would have started their own business.
Yes.
We want entrepreneurs. We want somebody to come in and feel like the business that they run is their own personal business.
It's huge.
And
It's important.
to give you a perfect example, we have a great program. We take our marketing people, our young marketing executives, and we say, okay, come up with any idea you want and present it to this to our board. And they will they pick one idea a year, and they actually fund that, and they start their own business.
Really?
Yeah, and the young lady that got the last one, Kim Cooper, she's just a dynamic young lady who actually went to Howard undergrad.
Did she?
Yeah, she went to
Like
Howard.
the Lazarusson.
And she came up with this idea. She was in our beverage department, and she came up with this idea of beauty products in a bottle.
Beauty products in a bottle.
It's called Glow-L, and she found that in doing all the research that women buy all these beauty products.
That's true.
Stuff for your face.
Yeah,
and
we
you
do.
wanna look.
We love that.
So what if she could put all those products in a bottle, in a drink,
In a drink.
in a beverage called Glow-L, and it's sold in high-end stores like Saks and all that. It's expensive. But it's a product that this young lady, an African American woman, came up with. They gave her a year she had her own office outside of Nestle. She had a marketing person with her. She had a manufacturing person. She had a salesperson. And so she traveled all over the world putting all this together and then launched her own brand and ran it for a couple of years and then passed it on.
Within the Nestle footprint.
Within the Nestle footprint. Another product that won this competition, it was called Wonkazoid.
Wonkazoid.
Yeah, and it was a video
I
game.
can't wait to hear about it. Oh, okay.
Video game
It sounds like it could
that
be
dispensed Wonka candy.
Oh.
And so it was something that we launched around Christmas time a few years ago. But these are ideas
that our entrepreneurial
that our employees
ideas.
came up with. Wow. And the company funded their idea.
That's pretty progressive.
Oh, I think so. And we're looking for entrepreneurs. And I think of myself as an entrepreneur and this business I'm in. My idea is to
It shows.
really to come up with ideas that'll help not only move the business forward and enhance the image of Nestle, but also to give back to the community and the consumers that we have.
Right.
So for me, it's constantly changing. I'm constantly thinking of new ideas. And what's interesting is that I've had 8 different jobs at Nestle.
8 different jobs?
8 different
I know
jobs.
I didn't finish reading.
But 7 of them, I was the first person in that job.
Is that right?
That I
Because
was
you
a-
created
I created.
the position.
Yeah, there was an article.
7 of them.
There was an article in a business magazine that said 70% of the jobs in the next 20 years haven't been created yet.
70%
70% have not
have
been
not
created.
been created yet.
So it just shows you how you have to be innovative, how you have to have vision, and how you have to think, even in a company. Because people think, okay, I go to work for Nestle, it's a $100 billion company. I'm not going to be creative. We want people that will come up with the next, Crunch Bar, the next, how to do frozen foods differently. I mean, how to market it. So we're looking for innovative people. That's the only way we're going
What's
to
the
continue
latest
to grow.
product? What's the latest product? Nestle's latest product? Is it the Glow-L? Is it
Well,
the...
we've got. I don't know if we're supposed to.
Okay, well, then
But we've got a bunch of innovative things in candy that you'll see, which I think is this one candy product we have is going to revolutionize the candy business. We've got a bunch of different kinds of Lean Cuisine. Lean Cuisine is still the number one.
Really?
We've got a bunch of different healthier products. One of the things that not to give a commercial on Nestle, but one of the things that we really are doing now is making sure that all of our products are healthier.
I love to hear that.
'Cause if you-
we all need that.
We
yeah, we have to have that.
We do, and that's something that we're taking very seriously. That all the ingredients that we have in our
Yeah,
products
are healthy.
the healthiest possible. So if you want a candy bar, you get a candy bar from us with the healthiest possible ingredients in it.
A lot of sugar.
Well, reduce,
Candy is sugar, right? So I get
doesn't necessarily have to be all sugar. So we reduce the amount of sugar.
reduce
in
the amount of sugar.
it. Yeah,
That's good.
and then reduce the amount of fats in it. So we're taking our role as a corporate citizen in health and
That's-
wellness very seriously.
I like hearing that because I always go grab something and I go, I'm staring at the labels. Oh, what is
Try
this?
it.
What is
Are you an ice cream? Do you love ice cream?
I do, but I do.
Skinny Cow. You got to go to try Skinny Cow.
Oh.
Skinny Cow has been a tremendous product for us because
What's in it or what's not in it?
it's not more than 100 calories,
Ah.
and so a lot less fat. And so we're committed to every Skinny Cow product has to have 100 or fewer calories.
And how many ounces do you get to eat?
There's different sizes.
Oh, okay, for 100 calories.
Right. And there's also a candy bar, Skinny Cow candy bar. That's
Okay.
really, really
Okay.
good. You should try it.
Chocolate?
Chocolate.
Okay. Any
100
oatmeal?
calories?
Any oatmeal candy bars?
No,
I love
But
oatmeal.
we have a Girl Scout. Do you like Girl Scout cookies?
yes.
Have you tried our Girl Scout candy?
No.
We have
No.
candy bars that are the same flavors as the Girl Scout cookies.
Don't even tell me.
I wish I should have brought some for
I'm
you.
going to have to get a care package.
Yeah, have to send you a packet. But
Exactly.
the candy's unbelievable. It's better
Yeah.
than the cookies.
Interesting.
Yeah, the mint.
Do you
is-
eat them? I put him on the spot. No,
I'm
just kidding.
lactose intolerant, so I have to
Yeah,
eat in
you have to
moderation.
be careful. Yeah.
But
A lot of people
my
are
wife eats
lactose
it.
intolerant. That's it. That's interesting. I hear that a lot. So I have a stat I want to ask you about.
Okay.
I looked this up. This is according to Fortune.
Okay.
65% of the top 100 most innovative companies. I'm not sure how you put Nestle in there, but I would absolutely put them in there. Use corporate entrepreneurship. That means you're an entrepreneur. I get these you're an entrepreneur to improve their ability to innovate and increase financial performance. So the important part of this is that the organizations that have higher levels of employee engagement, productivity, growth, and profitability use people that are entrepreneurs inside the organization. Would you say that you are not alone, but would you say the majority of, the higher executives in your company are entrepreneurs, or would you say that they're, what would you say? And even the employees.
Well, I can say that a lot of the people that started when I started aren't.
Are not.
Yeah, but I tell you that the people that we're bringing in, we're looking for people that
Okay.
are entrepreneurs because I think the guys at the top understand
Mm-hmm.
that for us to stay competitive, we've got to come out with new products.
Yeah.
Because the food business is a business that with stable products that aren't going to grow a whole lot. And so we know if we're going to continue to be the number one food and beverage company,
And you-
we've got to innovate.
Yeah.
We can't keep doing business the same way we've been doing business.
How do you identify them if you don't traditionally have people like you that are, doing this?
Well, I think you go out and we go to colleges. We spend a lot of time on college campuses. I spend a lot of time
You do?
talking to students, letting students know that we want those
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. We want those people that want to be part, number one, want to be part of a winning team.
Yes.
And then number two, they're competitive enough to know that they've got to come up with new, innovative ways to do it. We tell them, we don't want to keep doing business the way we've been doing.
So what about the people that are already at Nestle? They're not going anywhere probably unless they do something really crazy or bad. So the people that are already there, how do you get them into the entrepreneurial spirit? What do you do?
Well, I think they've bought into the idea that we have classes and stuff that people can go
Okay.
through, but they've bought into the idea that we need to innovate. And I think that when you talk about diversity, that's the whole idea around diversity.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're bringing in different kinds of people, so then they can train and be an influence on the people that have been there for a long time. And that's what I love about diversity. People talk about diversity as just being ethnicity and gender, but diversity's
What is diversity?
Diversity is a way of thinking. Diversity is styles. There's a lot of aspects to diversity because diversity, what we say at Nestle is diversity is really about our consumers. We want to model our consumers, and we have all kinds of consumers.
Yes.
And so we want innovate. We want different kinds of people in our company because it helps us. It helps us understand our consumer better. And the people that win in the marketplace are the ones that understand their consumers the best.
Yeah. Now, do you think diversity is also being considerate? How do you you say you have all different kinds of consumers. Some consumers, because I'm customer service. I'm all into the way you serve your customers, is how you are going to end up. Because
Right.
that central focus is your culture, your corporate culture. It has to be customer focused. And if it's not customer focused, your bottom line obviously is going to be affected. So,
Right.
when you say diversity, there's a lot of different, people that buy products. You're all over well, how many countries are you in?
132.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
132 countries. That's huge.
It is.
So
$100 billion company.
$100 billion company.
It's a big company.
Yeah, that's a big company. That's a huge company.
It is.
So are you in charge of diversity all over the world?
No, just in Nestle USA.
Just in Nestle USA.
Nestle USA.
That's-
We have a worldwide gender initiative, and somebody in Switzerland is responsible for the worldwide gender
Okay.
initiative. But I'm just responsible for Nestle USA.
And how does that work in Nestle USA? So if I were to come and say, are you compliant with? I mean, is there that kind of thing where you have to be compliant with certain things, or you just have to,
No.
as a corporate citizen, you have to do the right thing?
Well, no, I think we wanted to get away from. We have a affirmative action person that handles the compliance with the government, and so what my role is more of a business focus, because we look at diversity as a business imperative. So what I talk to our business units about is really how diversity can impact their bottom line. And so it's not that it's because it's the right thing to do. It's because diversity will help you understand your consumer better.
Yes.
So when you want to market to Latinos, you want somebody that understands the buying patterns and understands the culture of the Latino market. So if you want to sell to African Americans, you want somebody that understands
Stands.
that. And so that'll help you understand the consumer. That's why I talk to them about diversity.
Got it.
So it's not a community affairs thing or
It's-
a feel-good thing. It's really a business
It's a
imperative.
business imperative. It really is.
It really is.
Because so many people, they look really different. And not only in the consumer world, but all over. We used to I guess the census was talking about there's this race and this race and this race, but you look at any city in any, it's so diverse. So
is.
you can't really just say we only want these people in this company in that department.
Right.
But I hear so much that I can't find the applicants that I need, so I just. But that's another story for another day.
Yeah, that's another story.
I have a couple more questions for you
Okay.
because we were kind of going to wrap things up. We've been talking, to Ken Bentley about, how he started with this book, how he loves what he does, how he shares so much with others. And we even had a caller that stamped their approval on how awesome he is with sharing. So I want to ask you, if you had to identify 3 things that would promote or impede growth within your corporation, within the entrepreneurial community in Nestle, what would those things be that would promote growth, and what would those things be that would impede growth?
Well, I'd say for promoting growth, the big thing is you have to be able to work within a team. The people that do well at Nestle are not necessarily individual standout performers. Now, you have to have an individual, you have to perform as an individual, but you have to be the type of person that can make the group better. So when the group wins, you win. So number one, you have to be a team player. Then I think the second part is you have to, if you want to rise in the company, you have to embrace leadership. So you have to be a leader, and you have to lead in a certain way. I think there's a way you lead to make your team better. So you have to embrace leadership. And the third thing for Nestle is to see Nestle as a global company. Now, the people that will really do well in the future, and I use my friend John Harris as an example, a guy who's from South Central LA, but he's lived all over the world for Nestle.
Wow, how
Currently
cool
lives
is
in
that?
Paris. But he embraced that we were
Embraced.
worldwide.
Yeah.
So I think that those three, you have to be an executive for Nestle in the future, you have to have an international assignment. You have to embrace that as a worldwide company.
Before you move on to the impede part, really quickly, we've been talking about entrepreneurship versus entrepreneurship. How do those 3 key elements relate to both? Well, you already told me how it relates to Nestle. How does it relate to entrepreneurship?
Well, I think the first thing you want to, it's difficult. When people say I did this on my own, even if you start a product, there's a team involved in it. You got to get somebody to manufacture it.
Yes.
You got to have
Team.
somebody that can sell
That's
it.
right.
And even if you're selling it yourself, you got to get a customer to buy it.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a whole thing, and there's a whole universe involved in that. And then how do you make all of that work? And that's where the leadership comes in. How do you make all that work? And then the third thing, as an entrepreneur, I think you gotta think outside of your community, outside of
Yeah.
your neighborhood. You gotta look, if you come up with a product, how does this sell globally? How does
Yeah.
it sell around the world? And I think that's important. So that's how I see the three things working.
Well, Kenneth Bentley, Vice President of USA, Nestle USA?
Nestle USA.
Nestle USA. I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with us today. Listeners, I know you've gotten so much from the conversation, so I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. And I want to leave you with something because this gentleman has done so much for our community, and he has really spearheaded the entrepreneurial spirit in corporate America. If he can do it, you can do it. If he can do it, you can do it. He has said that all day long. Get a mentor. And what else did you say? Get a mentor. Be sure that you are.
Plan. You need a plan.
You need a plan. You had a 13-step plan, and think outside the box. Don't let anything confront your comfort zone. This is Diana Price, and we're going to be signing off. You're listening to Diana's Spicy Business Talk, and we hope to see you next week, Tuesday, 12:30 to 1:30 Pacific Time. Have a wonderful week.